look?
I never know. I don't know why. I never look at the little sign that tells the movie times. I always look on the side, but the sign, there's a sign there.
Yeah.
What sign?
Yeah, well, you just went to your first 3D movie, so that's normal.
Montpelier firefighters spotted her further downriver. She was an elderly woman, at that point too weak to grab a hold of the ropes they threw to her. Lieutenant Nick Brissette got into position under a bridge.
I was under the bridge abutment, tied off with a PFD on, and made the decision to jump in and grab her, because at this point, beyond there, it was probably the closest shot we were going to get at physically getting a hold of her.
And she was failing.
She was.
They got the victim into an ambulance. She was taken to the hospital. No one on scene could say who she was or how she got into the river. What'd she say when you got her out?
She said thank you.
Thank you so much. Your name?
Danny.
Danny. Firefighter Ruggles. Danny Ruggles. Thank you, sir.
You're welcome. It's gonna be, yeah, those things are real tight.
Waterbury. And a Waterbury.
Real tight, yeah.
But I'm wearing it right? See?
As right as you can, wearing a plastic.
I mean, is there a wrong way to wear that? You got to hold it.
Not like that. Got the rubber band for a reason.
I'm a slow learner.
There we go.
Yeah.
Absolutely. One more helmet, please.
It's only for people under 50.
He is outside.
I mean, she's just being rude.
Well,
quite
really,
frankly.
she's 49. So. There we go.
All right. We're here in Montpelier, Vermont, with the fine gentleman. I gotta let her go first. And eventually we're gonna get inside this thing once I kick all the kids out. Oh, I think we might have a window here. I want to give the kids their, telling you, you know, kids, they like to monopolize and take the things from the adults. It's wrong, quite frankly. But as you can see, I'm waiting to get on because, you know, obviously people who are too old to be on the fire engine. What are you, like 7, 8? So this is for this.
11?
Yeah, I know. Going to go do man's business. That's sexist. We're gonna go do important person business. Saving lives. One fire at a time.
Okay, there we go.
I'll be real quick. I promise.
You gotta close the door.
Oh, close the door.
The humanity of it.
Ciao.
Again, appealing to the child that you're depriving of the experience.
You didn't leave the keys in, did you?
Be happy when I'm making a run. I should be serious. All right. And then I get out. Okay. Thank you so much for waiting.
They did not have a choice.
Thank you. That was great. Of course. That was awesome.
It doesn't make any sense.
It doesn't make any sense. But Vermont, in the best way possible, doesn't make any sense for the rest of the country. Oh, it's true. It's true. I'm not from here.
Where are you from?
I keep coming back. DC.
Okay.
Yeah.
He could tell when you put on the hat that you weren't from here.
I'm a lover of all good things. Montpelier Fire Department. man in this big, powerful machine. It's like being at Disney World.
And I love the fact that we caught you harassing an 11-year-old
Right.
and insulting him at the same time.
Exactly. I would have gone as high as 10. That's all I'm saying. All right.
Rubber man.
How many guys do you guys got?
I have a total of 17 full-time. I'm like the puppet master.
I'm not from here, but a sincere thank you for what you do.
Thank you very much.
How often do you get emergencies?
We run about 2,100 calls a year. So, I'd say about 70% of those are EMS calls. So we roughly 4 to 5 calls a day.
EMS, emergency medical services, and they're usually closest there, fastest, and most professionally trained. And less than 70% is actual, fire emergency, which is probably what people would think as depicted on the movie. So they're our first line of defense in more ways than one. That's not a popularly known fact.
Yeah.
But the majority of them are
Maybe when you're
like
fine.
fire-related emergencies. They're EMS called.
But that's pretty much baseline for any career department, that operates with 2 separate entities. And the majority of their work is EMS.
Are there any paid staff here? Or is everybody
all of us
volunteer?
are.
Really?
So
Okay.
So the full 17 of us are paid in career.
Yet another Vermont charm.
Thank you. If you have any
Thank you.
questions, we can do, let us know.
I am Vermont strong. This is one of Vermont's several popular phrases. This is one of the, I guess, key ones. But we're at the Montpelier Fire Department, really celebrating July 4th. They celebrated on July 3rd.
Doesn't everybody?
Doesn't everybody? Largely so that people in the community can have a day to celebrate together. And then July 4th, as I understand it, they can go out and celebrate it with their families and travel, etc. So today's a big community day. We're going to have rallies, and not rallies, but parades and etc. But right now we're visiting the fire department and capturing the majesty and the importance of this fine establishment. A lot of people are going to think it's just you grab a hose and you're putting out a fire.
Yeah.
But there's a
lot that goes into it.
Yeah,
for sure.
there's a majesty and a poetry, and you have to coordinate and all this different type of stuff that makes it work.
Yeah.
Only time he's ever heard anybody call it majesty and poetry.
It is. They understand the language. I'm not a fireman, but they know. They know. That bell rings and then stuff starts happening.
And it's the majesty and the poetry.
It's the majesty and the poetry of protecting lives. Now this looks like the Star Trek control panel.
Yeah.
This is where the magic happens.
It is.
Now, on to work. What you might expect. But still, this is where, like I said earlier, the poetry and the majesty of saving lives begins right here. Right here in this bad boy. Okay.
It's hard to take you seriously when you have Bernie or Bust on when you say those things.
Bernie or bust. What do you call this? I know this is the classic.
That's just a fire axe, and this one's a Halligan bar.
A Halligan
Bar, yep.
Halligan bar. See, I've never heard of that.
Well, they both do the same thing, but pretty much, right? Just breakdown.
Oh, there's got to be a different
Yeah, this
reason
one's.
for it.
This is a striking tool, and this is more of like a prying tool.
Okay, I see that. Okay.
But there's two different ends, right? So
Yep. So it's got a forked end, it's got a flat end, and then it's got a
look, see, that's
pointed
cool.
end.
Yeah, that's cool.
So you can do a few different things with it.
You never see him in the movies using that one.
No.
And look, and you see he's pulling out his guns to lift that. That's not. I'm not going to embarrass myself and try to hold that. But you got to be reasonably strong. Anything significant about this?
Not really. We just got some extra hose, and this is for car accidents if there's like leaking antifreeze or oil. We kind of like almost like a kitty litter. Just sprinkle that down on it so it soaks it up.
Very cool. How much water does one of these things?
So on this truck, there's 1,000 gallons just on the truck.
So if you're in an isolated area, you don't have to be anywhere near a fire hydrant.
Yeah, exactly. 1,000 gallons. It's a lot, but at the same time, it's not.
It's not. It's got to.
It can go fast.
Is there one person kind of like when they're initiating this, monitoring whatever these valves mean?
Yeah, absolutely.
You have to certain thresholds and stuff. You got to monitor.
Yep. Yeah, you're gonna want to maintain certain pressures. It's a very smart truck.
Cool. If you had to compare this to one of the earlier versions, Is there anything major that you would say this does a lot better than the older ones?
Yes. If you put that in the hydrant and you only want it to, let's say, be at 160, the truck will idle down, so it doesn't give the guys on the hand lines 200 pounds of pressure.
But look, I'm back to the drawing board.
I want to
Go.
go